Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so before I present you guys with the main point of the video here, I want to come at you guys completely out of character to say that this video is, in fact, going to contain me out of character. So this is, in fact, going to be an overall out of character video. Not going to come at you guys as Mega-Crash or anything like that, because in a video like this, I would like to come at you guys more straightforward and more fair and balanced and professional here, because this is, in fact, going to be my follow-up video to the whole Smogon suspect test for Mega-Metagross. Now, normally when it comes to suspect tests, I usually make an announcement video, and I follow it up with a discussion video that more often than not results in me being out of character and right down the middle, because I know that there's quite the handful of you guys out there that like a more calm, professional, and analytical approach when it comes to things like this. Now, I also know that there's quite the number of you guys out there that love it when I'm in my Mega Crasher character, even for videos like this, because it adds more of a hype and surprise factor, because you never know what my character is going to do, except for, of course, me, because I'm the one that does this stuff, obviously. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say I present you now with this video. Please take everything that I say in this video with a pinch of salt, because a lot of the stuff that is going to be said here in this video is going to be both opinion-based, unbiased, and I'm also going to be including some other things too, such as testimonies and comments from people in the actual suspect test thread, and just kind of reacting and responding to them, you know, as to whether or not I agree or disagree or whatever. But with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say, let's do this, so allow me to present you guys now with the video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so now I present you guys with the actual video itself, and this right here is going to be taking a look at Mega-Metagross itself. Now, we already have a good idea as to what details lie in regular Metagross. I mean, it is a very, very solid Psychic Steel typing, in which if we go ahead and highlight the typing, right off the bat you have an immunity to Poison, you have a 4 times resistance to Psychic, and you have 8 resistances in total, that being a Dragon, Fairy, Flying, Grass, Ice, Normal, Rock, and Steel. Now, all of those put together are actually very, very good defensively. I mean, Psychic and Steel is one of the best defensive typings, and that right there is one of many things that Mega-Metagross has going for it. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, because of the fact that Steel no longer has resistances to the likes of Dark and Ghost, it actually has 4 very exploitable weaknesses, at least as far as exploitable goes, that's my opinion. But also, I think, given the fact that it is pretty common to run those types, then it's more objective than subjective to say that. But anyways, it is weak to the likes of Dark, Fire, Ghost, and Ground, all of which are, like I said, very spammable moves. I mean, for Dark, you got the likes of Dark Pulse, Knock Off, Sucker Punch. For Fire, sorry, you got Fire Blast, you got Flare Blitz. For Ghost, you know, you got Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is very spammable. And you also have the occasional Shadow Claw and Phantom Force, I guess if you're the likes of Delmise or something like that. And Ground, Earthquake. I mean, nothing more can be said. Ground, I think the first thing that you think of when it comes to ground type moves is going to be Earthquake. I mean, Earthquake is one of the greatest moves in the history of Pokemon, if not the greatest move in the history of Pokemon. It is so consistent, okay? Like, it is a very consistent move, but get back on track here, ladies and gentlemen. So now we get to the ability in its Mega form known as Tough Claws. Now, what Tough Claws does is any move that it uses that makes contact with the opponent is going to have a 30% boost in power. And that right there is actually pretty damn good. In fact, not just pretty damn good, it's actually pretty damn awesome. And not only that, but it's essentially like a free recoil-less life orb of sorts when it comes to contact moves. By having your contact moves boosted up by 30%, or was it 33%? Point is, it's like, it's in the 30 percentile. Like, it is really, really good. And speaking of really good, we get to the stats, okay? Now, I don't think I have seen a really solid stat spread until I've seen Mega-Metagross. Well, I can't exactly say that because that sounds a little bit over-exaggerating, but we'll say one of the best spreads, okay? So, it has 80 on the HP, which is, you know, average, but take a look at this. For defenses, 150 in the defense and 110 for special defense. So, I mean, especially for defense, man, like, holy hell. That's actually pretty damn awesome if you ask me, man. And it's actually able to stomach even super effective hits when it is in the right range of health. Now, even for its base 110 special defense, it can also stomach some more weaker super effective special moves, but nonetheless still super effective, and it can still tank those moves, right? Now, we get to the offense, okay? Base 145 attack, you know, it doesn't seem like it's really that big of a jump from base 135 for regular Metagross, but keep in mind, though, it does have Tough Claws, and it does have other stats that kind of balance itself out and whatnot. So, I mean, base 145 attack is actually very, very good. And base 105 special attack is, well, I mean, like, here's the thing, okay, is that this is coming from someone who isn't much of a special attacking kind of guy when it comes to the likes of Mega-Metagross. Like, I don't think the special attack is that bad, but it's also not good either. I mean, base 105 special attack is nothing to scoff at, but the thing is, though, is that aside from Grass Knot, if you run special Mega-Metagross, you're completely negating your ability Tough Claws. You're negating the ability to use Tough Claws. And then we get to its speed, which is base 110. I just gotta say, man, that you make a big jump from base 70 to base 110 in speed, that is going to land you a lot more opportunity to outspeed Pokemon, okay? Not to mention the buffs that Mega Pokemon got in the 7th generation, where the speed automatically changes and factors in that exact same moment. So, as opposed to last generation, where some Pokemon would forcibly have to run Protect so that they could get the speed boost at the end of that turn. You no longer have to worry about that there, ladies and gentlemen. So that right there is kind of another small thing that Mega-Metagross has going for. And I say small because the thing is that this buff happens to all of the Mega Evolutions, right? Not just Mega-Metagross, but all of the other Mega Evolutions, right? Including the ones that are unreleased, like Mega Diancie, Mega Lopunny, Mega Gallade, Mega Gardevoir. So, you know, the list goes on, right? So, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going to go ahead and scroll down here and give you guys now the moveset portion here of this video. Now, we take a look at this moveset right here. This moveset is likely the most effective way to use Mega-Metagross. In fact, there is no most likely about it. It is the best way to use Mega-Metagross. All out attacking, no nonsense, pretty much pummel down whatever the hell is in front of you kind of thing, right? And we have ourselves the likes of Meteor Mash. You're always pretty much going to want to run Meteor Mash because it's really solid steel type stab. Base 90 power, base 90 accuracy, so it does have a small percentage to miss, but it does also have a 20% chance, I believe, to boost your attack stat, which is pretty damn ridiculous, okay? And then we get to the next move, which is going to be Thunder Punch. So it seems like that it's mandatory to run these two moves. Thunder Punch, so that way you can take care of bulky water and flying type Pokemon. Not to mention you also have electric terrain users like Tapu Koko running around, which further boosts Thunder Punch and almost acts like Pseudo Stab, which can actually be pretty damn scary, especially when you factor in the Tough Claws boost that moves like Meteor Mash and Thunder Punch get. And then we get on to the third move, which is it's a toss-up between the likes of Hammer Arm and Earthquake. Now, Hammer Arm is a really solid move which does make contact, and it destroys the likes of Bisharp, destroys the likes of Tyranitar, Weavile, also destroys the likes of Ferrothorn, or at least deals very heavy damage to it. And it also does damage to the likes of Heatran for super effective damage too. Now, see, here's the thing though. We get to Earthquake, and even though Earthquake is not a Tough Claws boosted move, it is a very solid move to have. I mean, I kind of went on a bit of a mini rambling tangent about Earthquake earlier, saying that it's one of the best moves in history, if not the best overall move in history. Well, you got the best overall move in history right there, Daddy. You got Earthquake, okay? Now, Earthquake, like I said, even though it doesn't get Tough Claws boosted and all that stuff, here's the thing, okay? Here is the thing. It has really solid coverage, okay? You're destroying Steel-type Pokemon that either take not that much damage from Hammer Arm or take normal neutral damage from the likes of Hammer Arm, such as Jirachi and other Mega-Metagross and all that stuff. Earthquake hits for super effective damage. It completely destroys Heatran. 4 times super effective, right? You're also dealing still really good solid damage to the likes of Bisharp, to the likes of Tyranitar, even though you can run Meteor Mash to have better stab and a better chance to knock it out. Tough Claw's boosted as well. Earthquake also smashes the likes of Magnezone and Jirachi as well. Now, the thing is that, you know, it's a toss-up between these two moves, because if you run one move and not the, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Let me try this again, ladies and gentlemen. If you run one move, you're going to end up excluding the other. So, if you run something like Hammer Arm, well, that kind of leaves you walled out by the likes of Jirachi, opposing Mega-Metagross, and other Steel-type Pokemon that aren't going to be taking that much damage. Like, if they have, like, a secondary typing, for example, Skarmory, Celesteela, you know, Pokemon that won't fear Hammer Arm that much. But if you do have something like Earthquake, well then, you have Pokemon such as Ferrothorn that can have a better chance to 1v1 Mega-Metagross and potentially stall it out with Leech Seed and, you know, knock it out with, like, knockoff spam or some shit like that. And then we get to the last moveset. Now, this, again, it's all dependent on what sort of coverage that you're looking for and what sort of coverage that your team lacks. I should have made that point earlier about the Hammer Arm and the Earthquake thing, but this right here also kind of ties in as well with the point I made about that. So we got Ice Punch and Zen Headbutt as your last move of choice. Now, Ice Punch, obviously, is for bulky grass and flying-type Pokemon, as well as ground-type Pokemon such as Hippowdon, Garchomp, Landorus, Dragonite. Well, Dragonite's not a ground-type Pokemon, but, you know, it is a dragon, and it is flying, so it's 4 times super effective, all that stuff. Zygarde can also be really heavily damaged, if not O-code, by Ice Punch, depending on the moveset that it has, or the EV spread that it has. Now, with all that being said, we also have Zen Headbutt, which allows for it to have not only secondary stab and psychic, but it also has a 20% chance to flinch, and it's also boosted by Tough Claws as well as the likes of Ice Punch, Hammer Arm, Thunder Punch, Meteor Mash, the list goes on. And the thing is also is that it can be boosted by Psychic Terrain from Tapu Lele. So that right there just kind of makes Metagross just that much more scary to deal with in battle. I should say Mega-Metagross. And Zen Headbutt is also a pretty decent way to dent the likes of Rotom Wash, as well as, you know, Gyarados, if it doesn't run something like Thunder Punch or whatever. So, you know, Zen Headbutt also has its benefits too, you know, because it's Stab, Tough Claws boosted, can be Psychic Terrain boosted, things like that. But, you know, again, like, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that these moves should be chosen accordingly. They should be chosen according to what your team lacks in terms of coverage. Now, even still, is that Mega-Metagross has what's called the 4 move slot syndrome, which is one of the things that holds it back. I know that's a pretty weak argument, but just hear me out on this. Because here's the thing, is that, like, if you are running, say, I don't know, like, you're running these 3 moves and you're running Zen Headbutt. Well, you have no way of being able to heavily damage the likes of Tangrowth, for example, especially if it's physically defensive, and if it's like Rocky Helmet, which allows for it to wear it down easier with, if it's, you know, receiving moves from Mega-Metagross that make contact, right? Because how Rocky Helmet works is if the opponent makes contact with you, then you lose 1/6 of your health. And considering that Mega-Metagross has 0 way of reliable recovery, it gets worn down pretty easily. So that's kind of another thing that kind of holds back Mega-Metagross and whatnot. And even something like Ice Punch, which I'll get into with the damage calculations portions a little bit later on here in this video. Ice Punch doesn't even do as much damage as desired, right, for the likes of Tangrowth, even with Tough Claws boosted. Tangrowth is a defensive monster, and it is one of the outright best counters to the likes of Mega-Metagross, if not the best counter. Now, the thing is that if Ice Punch is forgoed as well, then you have Pokemon that are bulky of the ground types, such as the likes of Hippowdon, Garchomp, like Tank Chomp more specifically, you know, and even something like Rocky Helmet Land or Asterion can also 1v1 this thing pretty well. And also keep in mind this, okay? Also keep in mind this, is that its initial ability is Clear Body. Well, that's one of its initial abilities, but that is the best ability that you want to use for Metagross's base form. It is protected from the likes of stat reducing moves or abilities, such as Intimidate, drop in the attack. Now, keep in mind this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the moment that you make a transition into Mega Evolution, you also lose Clear Body, and you end up obtaining Tough Claws, which, you know, like I said, is not a bad thing. It's not a bad ability. In fact, it's one of the best abilities there is. But the thing is, you are now more susceptible to Intimidate. You are also more susceptible to speed drops, like with Sticky Web, or you are just like susceptible in general to any form of stat drop, which could also hinder Metagross. And aside from Power Up Punch and the occasional attack boost from Meteor Mash, you have no way of regaining your attack unless you switch out and switch back in, which puts the opponent at the in the driver's seat, you know, in the more advantageous sort of spot. Now, something else I kind of want to mention here real quick is that two moves, okay? We have ourselves Bullet Punch and Pursuit. Now, Bullet Punch is a great way to be able to clean up any weakened Pokemon, not to mention its priority, Tough Claws, boosted stab, all that good stuff. And we also have Pursuit as well. Now, Pursuit is also Tough Claws boosted, and what Pursuit does is it deals double damage if the opponent attempts to switch out. So that means that this right here could be an effective Latios and Latias trapper, things like what was I going to say? Oh, yes, Jirachi, and any other Pokemon that is weak to Pursuit. You know what I'm saying? That can't really damage Metagross that well. You know, there's that. It does have a lot going for it, you know. Great move pool, great typing, great stats, great ability. Pretty much great everything across the board on paper. And on paper, it seems like a Pokemon that almost seems too good, you know? That seems to be broken. But see, here's the thing, is that just because a Pokemon is really good, that doesn't exactly mean that it's broken, okay? And I'm also kind of hinting towards another section of the video that I'm going to be going to, that being the actual comments in the suspect test thread. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and we scroll down here, and let's see if there's any other movesets that we got. I guess not. I guess really that's the only moveset there is. Like, okay. Interesting. Now, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that just because it only has, like, one moveset in general to use, that doesn't make it a bad Pokemon. I mean, sure, it kind of makes it one-dimensional in terms of what kind of role it is, that being an attacking role. But the question is, though, what moves is it going to run, okay? It does have a good move pool to make use of, and most of those moves, I might add, that are very useful in competitive play, are boosted by Tough Claws. So there's that, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and let's scroll down here. Let's scroll down and let's go to the checks and counters section here of this video. So the first Pokemon that comes to mind when it comes to checking and countering the likes of Mega-Metagross is Mega Scizor. Now, Mega Scizor is one of the few Pokemon in Sun and Moon OU that are a proper counter to Mega-Metagross. Thanks to its stellar defenses, well-suited typing, and access to reliable recovery, Pursuit and U-turn, Mega-Metagross can usually stop... Sorry, Mega Scizor can usually stop Metagross from doing too much damage in a match. Now, of course, the first thing that is going to crop up against the likes of Mega-Metagross, if anyone's watching up until this point, is Hidden Power Fire. People have been saying that Mega-Metagross runs Hidden Power Fire. Now, see, the thing is that while that may be true, you know, there's a part of me that still has kind of like, sort of like a WTF kind of doubt moment where it's just like, okay, Hidden Power Fire. But see, the thing is there's a reason why you have teammates, right? Like, wouldn't it be better to switch out Mega-Metagross and switch something in that can deal with Mega Scizor? Because it kind of feels like to me that Hidden Power Fire is almost a waste of a move slot just to be able to deal with specific threats, such as Mega Scizor, Ferrothorn. I mean, even though it's 4 times super effective, you're essentially only dealing with 2 Pokemon out of many, many other Pokemon potentially that you're going to see in battle. So it almost seems like to me that Hidden Power Fire is a bit of a waste. but I'm not going to completely write it off. I'm not going to completely debunk it and say that it's trash or whatever. You know, people have their ways of kind of sneaking around their checks and counters if they use Pokemon in a different way. So, you know, I respect the Hidden Power Fire. I really do. And Hidden Power Fire does do a lot of damage to Mega Scizor, depending on the spread, though, that is. Like, if you're running more of a special defensive Mega Scizor, then it is going to do roughly half damage, especially if you're not running any special attack investment in Mega-Metagross. Now, we get to the next counter of Mega-Metagross, in my opinion, the more flawless counter of the likes of Mega-Metagross. Aside from Mega Scizor and, you know, Hidden Power Fire and whatnot, we got Tangrowth. Tangrowth is the second best counter to Mega-Metagross in Sun and Moon OU. With a physically defensive spread, Regenerator, Leech Seed, and a Rocky Helmet, it can easily absorb anything Mega-Metagross throws at it while staying healthy and dealing damage in return. And that right there is 100% true, because the thing is, right, if you're running physically defensive Tangrowth, there is no way that Mega-Metagross would be able to beat it 1 versus 1, unless, of course, by some sheer luck, sort of, like, occurrence happen in battle, where if it got an attack boost from, you know, Meteor Mash, or if Tangrowth took some severe hazard damage from rocks and maybe some spikes damage or whatever, then that right there could be a bit of a problem, right? But keep in mind, it does have Regenerator, it does have Leech Seed, has Sleep Powder, can damage it with the likes of Knockoff, can also damage it with the likes of Hidden Power Fire, with Earthquake, and just like wear it down bit by bit, not to mention Rocky Helmet too. So I mean, this right here is sort of going to be like a bane for Mega-Metagross in a way, because it's like, okay, I'm carrying a super effective Ice Punch, but, you know, at the cost of what? It could, you know, wear me out, and in combination with the likes of Leech Seed, that right there could spell the end for Mega-Metagross, because not only are you getting health back from Leech Seed, but you're sapping 1/8 of the health with the likes of Rocky Helmet, that's 1/6, so that amounts to quite a bit of health being taken away in one turn. So you're almost sacrificing more than you're getting when it comes to 1 versus 1 Mega-Metagross versus Tangrowth when it comes to that sort of situation. So Tangrowth, to me, you know, even with Ice Punch, I think that Tangrowth is probably the more flawless sort of counter to the likes of Mega-Metagross. So, yeah, like, that right there, like I said, is just my opinion. You know, feel free to let me know if you think different. And then we get to the likes of Bronzong. Now, Bronzong is more of a less common sort of counter/check, but it is a possibility. Bronzong resists Mega-Metagross stab combinations and avoids a super effective hit from any of its attacks, while 3 KOing it in return with Earthquake. That is not entirely true. Pursuit is also a thing, too, and if Mega-Metagross can predict a Pursuit, or predict a switch out from Bronzong, can nail it with Pursuit, Tough Claws boosted, going to be dealing double super effective damage. So I say double damage super effectively, because Pursuit goes from base 40 to base 80 when it comes to Pokemon that actually switch out. So Bronzong, I mean, it's a bit of a shaky counter, I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think that Bronzong is as good of a check/counter as it's made out to be honest with you, especially if it's running something like Pursuit, Mega-Metagross, I mean. So, there's that. This lets it act as a pretty solid counter, though it must be wary of Hammer Arm and Electric Terrain Enhanced Thunder Punches, which will do serious damage. And see, again, it's like, with that right there, it's like Hammer Arm is going to do damage to it, especially Tough Claws boosted, so it's almost stab, but not quite. So it's still going to be doing quite a bit of damage. Electric Terrain, Enhanced Thunder Punch is still going to be doing lots of damage. So Bronzong, I mean, more of a shaky kind of check and a counter than it being more of a solid check and counter. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but my opinion is that Bronzong is not really that good of a check and counter to the likes of Mega-Metagross, but it's there, you know, just food for thought, you know, whatever. It is a good situational counter if it's lacking Pursuit, if it's lacking the likes of Hammer Arm or Thunder Punch, or better yet, if it's not, the teammates don't have any way of producing Electric Terrain to enhance Thunder Punch, so there's that as well. Now, we get to Rotom. We get to Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash is a very good answer to Mega-Metagross should it lack Zen Headbutt. That is true, because the thing is that Rotom Wash can, in fact, burn Mega-Metagross or paralyze it, depending on which status you like better on Rotom Wash, and can proceed to wear it down bit by bit. And the thing is that Mega-Metagross cannot afford to be statused, especially if you don't have a Cleric on your team. Mega-Metagross is pretty much dead weight after it gets statused with the burn or whatever. So there's that. Now, the thing is that there is the possibility that it could have Zen Headbutt. And if it does have Zen Headbutt, well, then that could spell some problems for the likes of Rotom Wash. Now, like I said, could, okay? Very situational. Like I said with Mega-Metagross earlier, it's got 4 move slot syndrome. If it doesn't have Zen Headbutt, then and your opponent has Rotom Wash, then that right there could definitely prove to be a big-time challenge for the likes of Mega-Metagross to get through Rotom Wash. It can easily absorb the likes of Thunder Punch and shut it down with a burn too, like I had alluded to earlier. So, you know, take from that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think about that. Now, defensive ground-type Pokemon. Now, while Ice Punch is obviously a huge issue for the likes of these Pokemon, defensive Landorus, Therian, Garchomp, and Hippowdon are all capable of dealing lots of passive damage to Mega-Metagross with Rocky Helmet, or outright beating it 1 vs 1 as long as it lacks Ice Punch. Now, it's as I had made that point earlier, is that defensive ground-type Pokemon like Landorus, Therian, like Hippowdon, like Garchomp, can all 1 vs 1 this Pokemon should it lack Ice Punch. And the thing is that if this Pokemon does lack Ice Punch, then these ground-type Pokemon are going to spell major trouble for Mega-Metagross, especially the likes of Hippowdon, because it has access to Slack Off, which heals its HP by 50%. So there's that factor as well. And you couple that with the fact that each of them could be having the Rocky Helmet, which, like I said, chips away 1/6 at your health at a time whenever you make contact. So there is that as well. With all that being said, though, there is such a thing as called Grass Knot on Mega-Metagross, and even though it doesn't have as high of a special attack and whatnot, Grass Knot does have contact, which means that Tough Claws will boost it. So, I mean, there's also that as well, but like I said, it's a very situational kind of move, you know? I don't see a lot of Mega-Metagross, at least from my experience, running special attacks like Grass Knot or Hidden Power Fire. A lot of it's very situational, but it is practical, so just keep that in mind. So, let's see what else we got going here. So, Revenge Killers. Mega-Metagross's outrageous defense stats makes it fairly difficult to revenge kill, but its common weaknesses, as I alluded to, common weaknesses earlier, that being to Dark, Fire, Ghost, and Ground, do allow this to happen from time to time. So, the likes of Greninja, Choice Scarf Garchomp, Excadrill, Gengar, and other fast, powerful attackers with stab attacks that hit Mega-Metagross super effectively can check it in a pinch. Now, the thing is that regular Greninja does not OHKO it outright. It needs to have prior damage for Mega-Metagross to be able to be OHKO'd. Now, Specs Greninja, on the other hand, can, in fact, handle it better. So if you have Specs Greninja, Specs Ash Greninja especially will be able to handle the likes of Mega-Metagross and just take it out with one Dark Pulse. So, despite what it may look like, the fact that this Pokemon may be quote-unquote too good or too broken, the thing of it is that every single Pokemon has its fair share of checks and counters in the respective tiers. Now, with all that being said, let's see if there's anything else to go over here. So, yes, other options. So, you got Hidden Power Fire to break past the likes of Mega Scizor. Agility can also be used to attempt to sweep. And the thing is, though, is that, Agility takes up one of its 4 moves, and Mega-Metagross's all attacking power is so great that Agility can often feel like a waste of potential, since Mega-Metagross is nearly unmatched as a cleaner, so all that stuff right there. So, but the thing is just because, Agility may seem like a waste, it's not a complete waste, because the thing is that Agility is definitely a viable pick, as stated right here. So we also have ourselves, let's see what else we got going on here. So, Grass Knot, like I said earlier, is another mediocre coverage move that can harass like some Megasobro, Quagsire, and some other uncommon Pokemon. Use this move to have Metagross act as a lure, if anything at all. So, there is a possibility that Mega-Metagross can be used as a good lure as well. But with that said, though, ladies and gentlemen, I would like now to present you guys with part 2 of this video, that being the damage calculations. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I present you guys now with some damage calculations versus Pokemon that on paper seem to be really good candidates to check and counter the likes of Mega-Metagross. Now, I apologize for not making this look all fancy and whatnot. I am on Microsoft Word, but I just kind of want to be as straightforward with you guys as possible. Try not to take up too much of your guys' time, because the last bit took took over 25 minutes, god damn. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, what we got going on here, so we have ourselves a matchup versus Celesteela. So if I can just go ahead and highlight this, make this a little bit easier for you guys to see. We go ahead and we highlight this. So, versus Celesteela. So, 252 attack, Tough Claws, Mega-Metagross, Thunder Punch versus 252, so max HP, max defense, Celesteela in electric terrain. Now, that right there guarantees a 2-hit KO after Leftovers recovery. Now, I just kind of want to preface this there real quick by saying that all of these damage calculations that I'm about to provide to you guys is done under extreme circumstances, such as terrains, boosts, what have you. You know what I'm saying? So, this right here is under electric terrain. Now, even without electric terrain, it's still going to do a lot of damage. It's going to, at minimum, 3-hit KO the likes of Celesteela. But Celesteela does have a way to fight back during the fight with Mega-Metagross, because even without any special attack, Celesteela's Flamethrower to Mega-Metagross does between 41 and 49% damage, so it's a guaranteed 3-hit KO, and it could actually have a chance to 2-hit KO if something like rocks were on the field, if Mega-Metagross took prior damage. Now, like I said earlier, Mega-Metagross doesn't have any reliable way to recover. So there's that. So let's move on now to Skarmory. So we take a look at Skarmory here. Now, Skarmory is one of the best Pokemon in defensive history. So versus Skarmory. So Mega-Metagross's Thunder Punch in electric terrain versus a fully defensive Skarmory is going to be dealing 59 to 70% damage. Now, keep in mind, like I said, this is under electric terrain, and it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO after Leftovers recovery. Now, unfortunately for Skarmory, it has no real solid way of damaging Mega-Metagross 1v1. The best thing that it can do really is either stall it out with Roost or, Hazard Stack, or phase it out with the likes of Whirlwind. So, Skarmory is sort of like, I mean, I don't want to say it's a dead counter, but the thing is it can't do much to Mega-Metagross offensively, So, there's that there. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so coming up next, we have ourselves a matchup against the likes of Hippowdon. If I can just go ahead and scroll down here a little bit. Sorry about that. I just lost my spot. So, versus Hippowdon. So, max attack Mega-Metagross with Ice Punch versus max HP, 240 defense Hippowdon. It's going to be dealing between 35.7 and 42.3% with a 91% chance to 3-hit KO after Leftovers recovery. Now, keep in mind is that it has a chance to 3-hit KO. So, the thing is that this Pokemon needs to be 3-hit KO'd in order for Hippowdon to go down. But what it can do is it can take an Ice Punch, do damage, take another Ice Punch, and barring a critical hit or a freeze, it can slack off and then proceed to stall it out. Now, that is also if it has Rocky Helmet, so it can stall it for Rocky Helmet damage. And speaking of damage, we take a look at this. Now, 0 attack Hippowdon's Earthquake versus 4 defense Mega-Metagross. It's going to be dealing 55 to 65% damage, so that's a guaranteed 2-hit KO. So, Hippowdon does seem very favorable as a counter to the likes of Mega-Metagross outright. Now, getting back to Tangrowth, as I had kind of talked about earlier, this is against Tangrowth. And see, this right here is what I mean about it being one of the best, if not the best counter to the likes of Mega-Metagross. And actually, so I take back when I said the best counter, because Hippowdon appears to actually be one of the best Mega-Metagross counters as well, even with Ice Punch. So anyways, we get to versus Tangrowth. Now, Ice Punch coming from a Mega-Metagross, max attack, all that stuff, is going to be dealing between 36.7 and 43.6% damage, which is going to be a guaranteed 3-hit KO. Now, factor in the likes of Leech Seed Stall, which is going to be sapping health and giving Tangrowth back health for the damage lost that it took from the hit. You also got Rocky Helmet damage. You also got ways of chipping it down with Hidden Power Fire, Earthquake, Knockoff, anything super effective that you can land on Mega-Metagross versus Tangrowth. So there's that right there. So without a doubt, Tangrowth is, like I said, one of the best counters to the likes of Mega-Metagross. Now, if we go ahead and we take on Rotom Wash. Now, Rotom Wash is also it's a situationally good counter. And I say situationally because if you have Zen Headbutt, then Rotom Wash does, in fact, need to be careful with that. But check this out. So, under the likes of Psychic Terrain, a max attack Tough Claws boosted Mega-Metagross Zen Headbutt will do between 63% and 74.5% damage, meaning that it is going to be a guaranteed 2-hit KO. Now, so obviously, this thing cannot switch in safely to a Psychic Terrain boosted Zen Headbutt. It needs to play the cards well, get in, take a hit, possibly burn it with Will-O-Wisp if it doesn't miss, things like that. Although Zen Headbutt does also have a chance to miss too. So, we now get to versus Quagsire, which is going to be a little bit more of a wild card kind of thing. Like, you don't really see Quagsire too much in OU play versus Mega-Metagross, but say if this was to happen, right? Say if this was to happen. So, versus a max defensive Quagsire, it is going to be doing between 56 and 66% damage with a Psychic Terrain boosted Zen Headbutt. So yeah, that right there is also going to be pretty damn scary. It's going to be a 2-hit KO, so Quagsire isn't really the best counter in that situation. So with all that being said, let's now go ahead and move on to Mega Scizor. Now, Mega Scizor is highlighted as the best universal counter to the likes of Mega-Metagross. But if we go ahead and bear in mind this, a 4 special attack Mega-Metagross Hidden Power Fire versus a near max HP 128 special defense Mega Scizor is going to be dealing between 46 and 55% damage, which is going to be a 76.2% chance to 2-hit KO. Now, this is what I said earlier about it being specially defensive. If it's specially defensive, it does have a better chance of taking Hidden Power Fires better. And like I said, Mega-Metagross doesn't exactly have the best special attack to make use of, especially given the fact that moves like Hidden Power Fire does not get a boost from Tough Claws. If it did, that'd be a bit of a different situation, right? So with all that being said, like, even though it does appear that that Mega-Metagross does have answers to all these checks and counters, keep in mind that all of these damage calculations that you're seeing so far is under an extreme circumstantial kind of 1-versus-1 situation. So now, if we go ahead and we scroll, if we go ahead and we scroll down here to Jirachi. Now, Jirachi, on the other hand, it gets a 2-hit KO'd by Earthquake regardless. Like, the thing is that, like, for Jirachi, you would normally run max HP, but you don't see too many physically defensive Jirachi run around. You more or less see specially defensive with a little bit of speed. So, a max attack Mega-Metagross Earthquake is, in fact, going to 2-hit KO the likes of Jirachi. 58.9 to 69.3% damage in that single turn. So, it's going to be doing a lot of damage. And then we get to the likes of Ferrothorn. So if we go ahead and we highlight here too, now versus Ferrothorn. So Hidden Power Fire from a 4 special attack Mega-Metagross is going to be doing approximately 39.7 to 47.7% damage to a 252/168 special defensive Ferrothorn. Now, even with that being said though, with it being 4 times super effective, it seems like Ferrothorn seems like a bit of a better candidate to be able to take those sort of attacks because you can stall it out with Leech Seed, get some health back, and proceed to wear it down with either Gyro Ball, wear it down with Knockoff if you run it, or run Protect to stall it out a little bit and, get some health back and kind of... Also, don't forget, if it was to run a physical move like Hammer Arm, which is what we got going on here. So, Hammer Arm actually is going to be dealing more damage to it with 58.5% to 69.3% damage. The thing is that Ferrothorn with Iron Barbs, Rocky Helmet, and Leech Seed all combined in that single turn, it is, in fact, going to be causing a lot of recoil damage for the likes of Mega-Metagross. And as I said before, and I said it again, so I'll say it now, this Pokemon does not have any reliable recovery whatsoever. I'm talking about Mega-Metagross. So now we get into Bronzong. Now Bronzong right here, like I said, a bit more of a shaky and more uncommon check and counter to the likes of Mega-Metagross. So max attack Mega-Metagross with Thunder Punch in electric terrain for a 252 HP, 252 defense Bronzong. It is going to be dealing approximately 33.4% damage to 39.3% damage with a 14.8% chance to 3-hit KO after leftovers recovery. So the thing is that even with Thunder Punch, it's going to be quite troublesome for the likes of Bronzong to be able to deal with it. Now, that is, of course, under electric terrain. If there's no electric terrain, if there's no way to boost these moves under any sort of terrain or any sort of circumstance, then these Pokemon right here are better candidates and better likely to check and counter Mega-Metagross 1 vs 1. So now if we go ahead and we scroll down here, now we get to versus Landorus Therian. Now this is while Intimidate is intact and it has a -1 in attack drop. And even at -1 with attack, Tough Claws, Landorus, an Ice Punch to a max health, near max defense is going to be doing a lot of damage. It's a guaranteed 2-hit KO. As we see right here, it is going to be 64.9% damage to 76.4%, so that's going to be doing lots of damage, and easily 2-hit KOing it right there. Though it does need to be wary of Earthquake and Rocky Helmet, because Landorus Therian, even without any attack investment, is going to be doing a lot of damage to Mega-Metagross. So, if we go ahead and we take a look at this right here. Now, this is to an offensive Landorus. No HP, no defensive investment. Well, it's got 4 defense investment, but you know what I mean. It's not a defensive spread. Even with -1, it's going to be a guaranteed OHKO. 106.5% to 125.3%. So, that's a big jump. That is a huge jump without a shadow of a doubt. So, offensive Landorus, if it was to catch an Ice Punch, even at -1, it gets taken down. So, up next, we take a look at a damage calculation from Landorus here. 252 plus attack Landorus, so an adamant Landorus versus a offensive Mega-Metagross. It is going to have a 48.3% chance to OHKO, with 90% damage being the absolute minimum and 107% damage being the maximum. So there's that right there. So it's a bit of a toss-up, you know? It's a bit of a situational sort of encounter between Landorus and Mega-Metagross. It's about the kind of sets that you run. It's about, you know, who can go first, you know, prior damage, things like that. A lot of stuff to take into consideration, right? So up next, we have ourselves Gengar, and Gengar is more or less going to be an offensive check encounter to Mega-Metagross as opposed to a defensive check encounter. So what we got going on here, so a special attack timid Life Orb Gengar Shadow Ball is in fact going to OHKO Mega-Metagross without a shadow of a doubt if it doesn't have any HP or special defensive investment, because it is going to do over 100% damage. So see, guaranteed OHKO right there. Now on the other hand, Mega-Metagross can OHKO it right back with Zen Headbutt with, yeah, like without a shadow of doubt, it gets blown back, okay? 212% being the minimum damage. You do the math, okay? You do the math. That's just crazy. Okay, so we're almost, holy shit. I was going to say we're almost done here. Yep, we're almost done here. We got ourselves a few more Pokemon to go. So versus Ash Greninja, okay? So Hammer Arm is without a shadow of doubt going to be taking out the likes of Ash Greninja, like bar none. Like Hammer Arm, Tough Claws boosted, goodbye Ash Greninja. But get this though, ladies and gentlemen, Choice Specs Ash Greninja with a Dark Pulse is easily going to dispatch Mega-Metagross without a doubt. So, like I said, with the likes of Landorus Therian, it is a very situational sort of encounter in that battle. You know, if either party didn't take prior damage, or if one didn't switch into the other, then that right there could make a huge difference in that encounter. Like, say, Ash Greninja cannot switch into Mega-Metagross if it has Hammer Arm and it predicts it, then that's goodbye to your offensive counter to Mega-Metagross. And in a similar vein, you can't just switch in Mega-Metagross to something like Ash Greninja, because it could get OHKO'd by Dark Pulse and even 2-hit KO'd by the likes of Hydro Pump, you know? So there's that as well. We also have ourselves Excadrill. Now, Excadrill, if we go ahead and highlight this real quick, a 252 attack Mold Breaker Excadrill's Earthquake is going to actually not OHKO the likes of Mega-Metagross. So, yeah, like that right there could spell trouble. But that is if the likes of, if the two of them are 1 vs 1, you know, either of them didn't switch in, you know, it's literally a lead face-off equivalent, you know? So it can survive an Earthquake and fire back with Hammer Arm and be super effective and actually take out the likes of Excadrill. Guaranteed OHKO. Now, again, you got to factor into consideration prior damage. You know, what's the situation? Like, did someone switch into a move or, you know, things like that. And then we get into Garchomp, okay? We get into versus Garchomp. Oh, man. This thing right here, it is... Oh, man. Okay. So what we got going on here, we have ourselves a max attack, Tough Claws boosted Ice Punch versus a defensive Garchomp, 240 HP, 176 defense. It is going to have a 25% chance to OHKO. So that right there is going to make Garchomp a very, very shaky counter in my opinion. But here's the thing though, ladies and gentlemen, is that zero attack Garchomp can actually fire back with a powerful Earthquake if it was to survive. And it's going to be a guaranteed T2-hit KO. So it's going to be doing 62.4 to 74.4% damage. Now, factor in Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin damage, and that right there could actually transform into an OHKO right there, if you were to combine that sort of recoil. Not to mention, like I said, prior damage, entry hazards, things like that. Now, even with max attack for Garchomp here, it finds it very much difficult to be able to OHKO Mega-Metagross right off the bat. In fact, a 252 attack Garchomp Jolly Earthquake doesn't get the job done. It does not OHKO the likes of Mega-Metagross. So that's where the bulk sort of comes into play right there. And that's where I can say that, you know, especially for physical bulk, it can take super effective hits when it absolutely needs to. But again, you know, there's flaws to it because it doesn't have any reliable way to recover, as I've stated time and time again. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to the last of the damage calculations, that being for Heatran. Now, Heatran is a very interesting sort of scenario here because this thing can easily OHKO the likes of Mega-Metagross with a Fire Blast, and this is a timid Choice Scarf Heatran. Now, of course, in the similar vein, a Metagross with Earthquake, a Mega-Metagross with Earthquake, can easily OHKO it just right off the bat because it's 4 times weakness to the likes of Ground-type moves, so there's that, right? So, I mean, again, it boils down to the kind of sets that it runs, you know, the kind of, like, if it's running, like, an item like a Choice Scarf for Heatran, I mean, anyways, you can't run items on Mega-Metagross. I mean, it already has a Mega Stone. So, anyways, so, as you see right here, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves quite the extensive list of checks and counter damage calculations. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the beginning here of this second part, is that all of these calculations here are very situational. Like, all of these calculations will occur if the absolute best opportunity was to present itself, and that isn't always a bona fide guarantee in a battle with these said Pokemon versus Mega-Metagross. Now, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present you guys now with the last part of the video, that being, we're going to be navigating our way to the Smogon forums for the thread for Mega-Metagross suspect test. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I present you guys now with the last part of the video here. Don't worry, it's almost over. I'm even getting a little bit exhausted myself with making this video because it's so freaking long. So let's not prolong this anymore and let's get to the third part here. So, the thing that I kind of want to present you guys with is some of the comments that was left here in this thread. We're going to be going over the comments here on the first page to kind of shorten it down a little bit. So we have ourselves ABR right here. So ABR is someone who is well known here in the Smogon community. Now, this individual actually made similar arguments that I have when it comes to the Mega-Metagross suspect test and how he doesn't think it should be banned. Because here's the thing, is that, like, he says, on the face of it, Metagross seems to have just about everything going for it. You know, really good bulk, 145 attack, decent coverage, and a nice speed tier. However, something being good is different from something being broken. And that's kind of the point that I made earlier here in this video. And here's the thing, is that, like, we take a look at all... See, he himself did damage calculations on this shit, too. Like, look at this. Like, defensively, many Pokemon can switch safely into Mega-Metagross, Mega Scizor, Helmet Tangrowth, Skarmory, Alomomola, Slowbro, so, like, just to name a few right here, and we got, like I said, damage calculations and all that stuff. And he also stated, additionally, something like Landorus can 1v1 it because Ice Punch isn't quite strong enough. And at the same time can be said for Heatran versus Hammer Arm. Don't forget Earthquake too, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Another important thing to note is that there are a lot of situational switch-ins depending on Metagross's coverage. If Mega-Metagross uses Hammer Arm and no other Earthquake, then Jirachi pretty much walls it. That is true. Celesteela walls, no Thunder Punch. Landorus walls, no Ice Punch. Rotom, Gastrodon, Quagsire walls, no Zen Headbutt. Ferrothorn walls, no Hammer Arm, and so on and so forth. Mega-Metagross just really isn't as offensively devastating as people make it out to be. And that right there is also truth. No offense to those that might feel like I'm directing it towards anyone. I'm not directing it towards anyone. I'm saying this as an in general thing because it's something that I've kind of noticed. In a lot of the suspect tests, I'm not saying all of them, but in a lot of them, I kind of noticed that some people do kind of blow things up out of proportion, and whenever myself or someone else tries to comment in and say, you know, hey, like, maybe it's not that bad, and here's why, they kind of make a response that's less than favorable, but I'm not going to get into that because you get that everywhere, and I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever, that's your opinion, whether it's right or wrong, you know, you're cool to your opinion, that's fine. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what else we got going on here. So, this individual, he himself says, I was personally opposed to having this suspect test done at this time because I don't believe now is the time to ban Mega-Metagross if there ever is one. So this is one of the more top tier sort of Smogon guys that says, no, don't ban this. Now, of course, we do have the majority of the others saying, yes, ban this, and they go over really good reasons why, you know, like, but let's see right here. Sorry about that. I lost my spot. Rotom Wash is still a good solid Pokemon, but less reliable this generation, more at risk of getting blown back by stuff like Psychic Terrain, Boosted Zen Headbutt, which I had proven in the damage calculations to be fact. So, yes, let's see what else we got going on here. So, Blunder actually ended up making his announcement note here, and he talked about how I think this thing should be okay. Like, we actually didn't get a chance to read all of this here, but, like, but yeah, like, he's basically going over the reasons why it should be banned. And, you know, I respect Blunder, you know, Thunder Blunder, all that good stuff. And, you know, like, he's a cool cat. He's a cool cat. Same with a lot of these guys here. So, you know, we got Brofist, we got Flinchinator, and, you know, they're both leaning towards ban and all that stuff. Let's see what PDC is also saying. Make no mistake about when I say that Mega-Metagross is prone to hindrances for it is still one of the best Pokemon available right now, but I believe at least for the time, it does not transcend the boundary of strong offensive pick into the field of outright broken. So you even have someone like PDC who's been around for a long time to say, you know, I don't agree with it being banned for right now, you know what I'm saying? And if we actually go ahead and go Control F, let's go for no ban. We also have ourselves some other individuals to say that that this thing shouldn't be banned. So if we go here, you know, we have ourselves Ultra Ball say no ban. Let's see what else we got going on here. G-Brill, I apologize if I mispronounced your name there. So he also says no ban because Mega-Metagross holds back the Fairy Flood, and unlike Pheromosa, has many checks and counters. That is also very true too. If Mega-Metagross was to be banned, you do realize that makes it so that Pokemon of the Fairy typing can actually have one less thing to worry about and completely shit the bed in Smogon OU. Because here's the thing, without Mega-Metagross, the Tapus are going to more or less have, like, way less checks and counters to worry about. You know, Tapu Boo can run wild, and not have to worry about being O-code with Meteor Mash. Tapu Lele would likely get, suspect tested and banned because of the lack of Mega-Metagross. So see, here's the thing, is that, you know, like, to add balance, you know, there's gotta be some unbalance, if that makes any sense. Like, just check me on this. Like, see, here's the thing, is that, you know, there's a lot of people that claim that, you know, such and such is unbalanced, such as, for example, you know, Mega-Metagross being unbalanced and broken and all that stuff. I respect that. But see, here's the thing, is that at the same time, you know, in a similar vein, it adds balance. Because here's the thing, is that if you take away one Pokemon, that holds back, say, a group of other Pokemon, you take away that one Pokemon, then that is one less Pokemon to hold back. For example, the Fairy-type Pokemon, and they essentially get to go wild and mess up a bunch of Pokemon, like, with their moves and all that stuff, and and sooner or later it would come to the test. It was like, okay, well, we gotta ban these things too, or at least suspect them or whatever. And it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like a reverse power creep. It's like the reverse. I call it the domino effect. Okay, you knock one chip down, and the rest start to fall. And the truth is that I don't want this generation to go back to the way 6th generation was at the end. It was stale, it was boring. No disrespect, but I'm just saying, man, like, it was stale, it was boring. You know, there wasn't a lot of flavor to it. You know, everyone was kind of using the same sort of cookie cutter kind of teams and sets and all that stuff. 7th generation brought in something brand new. 7th generation brought in something very fresh. And the thing is that, like, with the inception of 7th generation OU, you know, there was a lot of Pokemon that was introduced that was, you know, outright broken, such as like the Zygarde Complete. I mean, let's be real. I as much as I love Zygarde, I more than could understand why it got quick banned. But, you know, Pokemon that suddenly got quick banned left, right, and center, like Aegislash, like what else? Sorry, it didn't go quick ban, my bad. I misspoke on that, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Aegislash got banned, Genesect got banned, 2 Pokemon that held back the Tapus. So if Mega-Metagross was to be banned, that's yet another solid Steel-type Pokemon that doesn't hold back the fairies and keep things in balance, you know? Like, I feel like that things are the best that's gonna be right now. I'm not saying it's perfect. Nothing is perfect, but if you banned Mega-Metagross, I'm sorry to say, but things are going to get really messy in a hurry. So if we go ahead and we scroll down here, we also have ourselves a Webcam Parrot there. He also votes no ban and things like that. And also, he also brought up a good point, or she. I apologize if I got that wrong there. When and if things like Mega Lopunny and Mega Diancie are released, I believe a Mega-Metagross suspect test could be revisited. Now, see, here's the thing, is that there are other Pokemon yet to be released that are going to benefit huge from, you know, not only 7th generation's metagame because of how universally strong they are, but because of the buff that Mega Pokemon got when it comes to Mega Evolving, and, you know, you got the speed tier suddenly coming into effect right away rather than at the end of the turn. They're going to benefit huge from that, you know? Like, Mega Beedrill already benefits huge from that, like, huge. So we go, let's see what else we got going on here. So let's see, my man Ian Smart, okay, my man, my bro from another mode, someone I've known for a long time since the Mega Masher days. Holy shit, like, I was actually surprised to see him on here, but it was also refreshing to see him on here because, you know, he is somebody that I know 100% knows like quite a lot about the Smogon metagames and how they work and whatnot. So big shout out to you, bro. Like, seriously, man. Like, you know, you know what you're talking about. You know what it is. You know what's good. So, and I'm gonna read everything that he says right here because I want to kind of praise this guy a little bit. Okay. I think Mega-Metagross is not broken by definition, but I think there is more to it than be broken. Mega-Metagross has a lot going for it. Tough Claws, base 140 attack. Well, I think that's a little typo there. I guess he meant to say 145 attack, so just say that. Extreme Bulk with 80, 150, and 110, and a really good speed tier, that being also base 110. That being said, Mega-Metagross is not unwallable, nor is it unkillable. Very true. It can be worn down very easily because it has 0 forms of reliable recovery, and after a little chip, it can be revenge killed by the likes of Tapu Koko, Greninja, Scarfers like Garchomp. So he was making similar arguments to what I was making to earlier, you know, making very similar points, and I'm just like, wow, dude, like that right there, you know, it feels good to be in sync with some of the people that, you know, that know what they're talking about and actually agree with what you're saying, kind of thing. Like that it feels good. It feels good, you know. Kind of warms me up a bit, not gonna lie. It warms me up a bit. So let's see what we got going on here. So the pro-ban argument for banning Gross isn't that it is broken, but that it has an unhealthy presence in the tier. I'm not 100% sure if I agree that it's unhealthy to the point of me wanting to ban it. If Gross leaves, I do think the meta will be slightly less bad, but I don't think it is the main reason as to why the meta seems so bad. It's simply icing on a poisonous cake, damn. Very interesting analogy there. Very good. I if I had a hat, I'd tip my hat to, you know what I'm saying? Not the main problem. It can only make the problem a little bit worse, but I think we need to address the other issues before looking at Gross, because those other issues might impact how unhealthy Gross makes the tier. For this reason, I'll be voting no ban, but I'm open to other perspectives on the issue. So, the thing is that, like, I do understand, okay? I do understand where you guys are coming from to say that, you know, Mega-Metagross, you know, is making the metagame unhealthy, but, dude, Ian just fucking put it perfectly right there to say, you know, you gotta address the other issues first, such as the fairy spam, okay? The fairy spam, and you know, the thing is, I'm someone that doesn't like for things to be banned, but god dang, man, it's like you're banning all these Pokemon that are counters to fairies, making these fairy-type Pokemon more and more powerful and seemingly less impossible or less possible to check and counter. Mega-Metagross does a damn good job at doing exactly that, you know? Like I said, you know, it handles the Island Guardians fairly well. I mean, it crushes Tapu Bulu with Meteor Mash, crushes Tapu Lele with Meteor Mash as well. Can also do some major damage to the likes of Tapu Fini, and Tapu Koko. It's shaky, okay? Because Tapu Koko under electric terrain, if it has Choice Specs Thunderbolt, or if it has something like, you know, Gigavolt Havoc with paired up with Thunder or something like that, and you pair that up with electric terrain, can do a lot of damage to Mega-Metagross, even if it's just a little bit of chip damage. So yes, it's like, you know, like, I'm actually seeing, like, quite a balance here when it comes to the likes of, like, when it comes to the opinions of ban or not ban. So let's go ahead and see what else we got going here. So, as we choose do not ban, oh, wait. See, for 100%, I'm 100% voting to ban Mega-Metagross from the game. So, you know, there's that as well. So, like I said, there's a, oh, shoot, sorry about that. There's a lot of balance here. And this individual right here, Teal6, also states do not ban, and there is a lot, this person went into a lot of detail as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of all that there is to say here in this section and in this video. So I'm gonna end things off on a final note. Whew. Man, oh man, I swear to God, like, it takes a lot out of me, even out of character, to make a video of this great length, okay? I ended up skipping the gym tonight because I felt like that this right here was more important and needed to be done and dusted with and addressed. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what is my final conclusion when it comes to Mega-Metagross as to whether or not it should be banned or not banned? Now, I'm going to be answering from a personal perspective first to say no ban, okay? From a personal perspective and from the fact that it's one of my favorite Pokemon as a Mega form as well, no ban. And also, statistically speaking, it is not unkillable, it's not unbeatable. You know, under the right circumstances, it can be a very lethal threat, and universally still is, but circumstantially, you know, it can be just that much better. I mean, if we go back to the damage calculations reference, I made those damage calculations out of the intent to say that this is the kind of damage that it does in an extreme case scenario, to say that if a certain terrain is up, you know, if it uses a certain move, things like that. But the same can be said for facing off against Mega-Metagross, you know, because the thing is that, like, there are Pokemon that can easily take it out with the right moves, right spread, right Pokemon, right situation, right items, etc., you know? So it kind of goes back to the whole thing I made earlier to say that Mega-Metagross is not invincible. It is not an unbeatable Pokemon. Sure, it is very good and very, very strong, but Ian pretty much said it best, that just because something is deemed as really good does not mean that it's broken. Or he said something along those lines. I apologize if I misquoted you right there, Ian, if you're watching this video. But pretty much, like, he nailed it on the head, okay? And this is someone, like I said, who I've known for a couple of years, you know, through YouTube, you know, back in the Mega Masher days, and, you know, he knows what he's talking about, okay? I met him from Smogon. So, with that said, you know, from a personal perspective, I say no, it doesn't need to be banned. And from a professional perspective, I'm also going to say no, it doesn't need to be banned. Was the suspect test necessary? Yeah, it was, because, you know, it gave an opportunity to really showcase and appreciate just how good Mega-Metagross is, and just what kind of a good job it can do in battle in more ways than one. When it comes to handling checks and counters, when it comes to handling threats, fairy-type Pokemon, like Fairy Spam is ridiculous right now, and Mega-Metagross is one of the few Pokemon that is able to comfortably handle and demolish Fairy Spam, okay? You also got defensive passive threats like Toxapex too, but Toxapex really doesn't really do that much to Fairy-type Pokemon offensively, just annoys the hell out of them and hazes them. They try to set up and all that stuff, but Mega-Metagross is an offensive threat, offensive counter, offensive check, just right then and there, in your face, ready to beat the crap out of you kind of thing. So, you know, the thing is like, I can appreciate where Smogon is coming from when it comes to these suspect tests, but as quite a few of the people had mentioned in just the first page too, okay? I didn't even bother going through the whole article page by page, but you know, it's kind of showcasing that there's, you know, kind of like a balance between no ban and ban. You even had some of the top tier people like PDC and ABR to say that it doesn't need to be banned. Suspect tested, sure, but ban, no. And even some of the other people to say, no, it doesn't need to be banned, and, you know, they followed up with reasons why, which, you know, I thought were pretty good. Same with the ones to say that, you know, the reasons why it should be banned. You know, give equal credit where credit is due. You know, you guys did a very good job, too, you know, giving your reasons and all that stuff. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to finally conclude this video. This video isn't gonna be over an hour long. Like, it's gonna be a fucking movie, okay? So I apologize if you guys aren't too happy with the length of the video, but hey, it's an in-depth discussion, okay? I mean, so what'd you expect, kind of thing? I mean, I said I was gonna go in depth. I said I was gonna, you know, go over everything that you need to know about the suspect test, about Mega-Metagross, and go over some damage calculations, you know, situational, like, what was I gonna say? Situational sort of instances. Man, oh man. Like, my brain is completely fried. I'm not gonna bother talking anymore about this, so I'm just gonna say, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Hopefully, I gave you guys exactly what you wanted. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you guys very much for watching this video. Now, because a lot of time and effort went into this video, especially time, let's aim for 20 likes here for this video. I would definitely help. Definitely would be appreciated. Much love to you guys. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Much love to you guys. If you want more content like this, then you know what to do, right? Subscribe, support, stay positive, and also don't forget to turn on the notifications. That way you're the first to know when you see me upload next. So much love to you, cool cats. Have yourself a good night, and I will see you guys next upload.